Hard to believe the 2009 NASCAR season is almost over. Ron Hornaday claims the Truck Series crown. Kyle Busch hoists the trophy, symbolizing the NASCAR Nationwide Series title. And tomorrow, 2009 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion will be crowned here in Homestead, Miami.
This truly is our Super Bowl as we start off a brand new season here in 2009.
The laps are winding down at Daytona and a lot of daring moves being made.
Brian Vickers is collecting the front half of the field.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. Yellow is out.
Matt Kenseth is the 2009 Daytona 500 champion.
The Hendrick domination continues at Martinsville Speedway as Jimmie Johnson wins.
For the 80th time here at Talladega, green flag goes in the air and we are underway.
Contact here at the trioval. Edwards goes up in the air. Brad Keselowski scores the victory.
Green flag is out at 2x2 down the front stretch. They are all locked together.
I gave it all I had. He just beat me off a forward too much there.
Jimmie Johnson becomes a three-time winner at the Brickyard. They call it the Coliseum of Collision, and we're going to turn him loose with a green flag.
All right,
here he comes.
Is he going to hit him?
At a turn 4, Kyle Busch will win it at Bristol, Tennessee.
Richmond International Raceway, the stage where the final fight to qualify for NASCAR's chase for the Sprint Cup will play out.
Green is in the air and they take off for turn number 1.
He said 18 close. You'll be in good shape, okay?
Vickers giving it everything he's got.
Unless Kyle passes 3 more cars, he's safely in.
Good job, man.
No, got trouble getting into 3, guys.
And Joey Logano is around. Spins down to the inside of the racetrack. Over, wheel-barreling. Now down the back straightaway. End over end, side over side. Here comes Kane. Whoa, trouble further back. Ryan Newman up and over off the end of the back straightaway.
Oh, here goes Kurt Busch around.
Frank behind you. Keep digging. Green, white checker. We win. Don't wreck it. They're having a party down in the pits, Jamie.
The chase has come to Texas.
Trouble for Jimmie Johnson.
Caution's out.
Oh, man, he's got a lot of damage.
The whole field thinks that this championship is back open again, and you know what? It is.
The fuel mileage works, and Kurt Busch will go to victory lane here at Texas.
Just remember, everybody, if we just do our job, everything will fall into place the way it should be.
Jimmie Johnson trying to get away from everybody. The scramble's going to be back there in second place.
Stay after, bud. You'll get him.
What a performance. The 3-time champion gets it done here at Phoenix.
We gave it everything we had today. Awesome stuff, boys. Awesome stuff.
The season started amid the palm trees in Daytona Beach, Florida. It ends in Homestead, Florida. Palm trees also providing the backdrop. Hi, everybody. Glad you're with us. Steve Burns, proud to be here with my buddies Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, and 3-time Cup champion Darrell Waltrip is with us as well.
Back in the house. Back in the house.
Good to see you back.
Yeah, man. Chairman of the board. Great to have you back. Chairman of the board. I mean, you don't have to show up for every meeting if you're chairman of the board.
Just the big ones.
That's right.
Look, I know better
as long as things are running smooth. That's right.
Yeah.
Everything I've been watching. I mean, keep an eye on you. I know you've been doing a good job.
You're kind of working that Junior Johnson theory.
Yeah, but y'all have beaten my poor old chair down over here. What y'all been? Who's been using my chair?
We've been wearing Elliott out pretty hard.
I'm like those 3 little bears. Somebody been sleeping in my bed.
Well, let's set the stage for tomorrow for Jimmie Johnson trying to make history. He has a lead of over 100 points, 108 in fact, over second place Mark Martin, third place Jeff Gordon. Not a realistic chance, but still alive. Now, Jimmie Johnson starts from the pole. His scenario is simple, guys, 25th or better, and he clinches regardless of what Mark Martin does. Darrell, you said a pretty amazing thing today in first practice. You said, I've seen the greats, I've raced against the greats. You said the 48 team is the greatest team you've ever seen.
Well, total team from one end to the other. They got the best driver. We know for a fact they got the smartest crew chief. I tell you, two things stick out in my mind. You think about the 2 races at Michigan when he ran Jimmy out of gas. You know what he learned from that? What did he do at Talladega? Came back in there and got gas when everybody else stayed out. So they always are planning for these last 10 races, and that's why they're so good in these last 10 races. But like I told you, I've seen Petty, I've seen Pearson, I've seen Allison, I've seen Yarborough, I've raced with Terry Labonte, I've raced with Dale Earnhardt, I've raced with all of them, and I've analyzed every one of them my whole career. Nobody stacks up to this group. This is the best group that they've ever had in this sport.
Can't argue with you about it. I mean, it really is. They're so impressive. When you think about this team from top to bottom, it doesn't matter who you go to, they'll tell you. They've kept their crew together. They've kept that crew chief intact. I mean, everybody on this entire team, they believe and think the one way that you need to. As a team, they are a family. They don't want to get broken up. And because of that reason, Darrell, you know it very well, just like I do. You keep a winning group together, you can win more championships. You can win a lot of races, and that's what they continue to do. Can't argue that. Tomorrow should be just a matter of doing your job. Don't make any mistakes that can beat you. Make sure you do your job. Don't try to play anybody else's position. Don't overanalyze it, and everything will turn out just fine.
And I know certainly all the focus is on the 48 car and Jimmy Johnson, but what about Hendrick Motorsports across the board? Right now, when you walk in that garage area, they are sitting there first, second, and third in the points. And Mark Martin, you know he's going to throw caution to the wind. He had the fastest car in final practice this afternoon. And even though this is probably going to be the 5th time he's finished second in the points, I think he would tell you this season has been different from any of those other seasons. That man has had fun since the drop of the gun walking in Daytona back in February. 5 wins, he led the points, and I think he was having so much fun, that's what led him to re-sign for 2010, and shortly after that, 2011.
Well, he made a believer out of me, because you know how Mark is. Usually about September, he's starting that old Eeyore thing, you know, like, I don't know why I did this, worst thing I ever did, worst decision I ever made in my life. He didn't go there this year.
I gotta say, you pretty much had already told him he'll be done before the chase even occurs. He definitely made you have to eat your words.
But I didn't realize how smart Alan Gustafson was either, and I think that's the key to Mark, being up and staying up.
And even though I think it eats at Mark inside about this championship deal, you never hear him talk about it outwardly, but I think he has said it. I just enjoy driving a fast race car.
Oh, yeah.
They give him a fast race car every single week.
Hey, buddy, right quick, did you realize he's done said that Chad Knaus was the greatest crew chief and Alan Gustafson was a very smart guy?
What
that
about
means,
us?
no, what I'm trying to say is he's finally recognizing there are smart crew chiefs, and crew chiefs do matter.
You just think you never worked with one.
He worked with one.
Thank you, Steve. I've never been around any, but I do recognize
I don't care.
I recognize
finally recognized them.
Together,
You finally found it.
Together we make a heck of a package.
Yeah, maybe if I had both of y'all, it might have been all right.
We've got a big show tonight. Jamie McMurray is going to join us. Mike Rowe from the hit show Dirty Jobs. Mike Helton, the president of NASCAR. We think Kyle Busch is going to be here. And one more Michael is here.
What is this?
In uniform, no less.
Hey,
What is this?
You should have on your Santa Claus uniform.
How you doing? It's my last race, and I haven't really taken this off this weekend. I really like you being here. Thank y'all very much. This is the Easy Grill. It's as seen on TV. You go to Walmart and get one. One match lights it. It burns for an hour and a half. You can cook 4 steaks, Larry Mike. Can you imagine going to an Alabama football game and not having to lug your big old grill?
Hey, one thing I
grill.
want to say back to you. You said your last race. We're going to look forward to that old big size 15 mashing that gas in the 2010 Daytona 500.
That's my boy.
I love what I do, and I love being a part of this sport, and I love your guys' passion for it as well. So wanted to bring you a gift.
Thank you, buddy.
Mikey, do you like the whole package?
Yes.
I mean, is it like one of those logs?
It's earth friendly too.
Earth
Light
friendly.
It all burns up.
Earth friendly.
It's gone.
Going green on Trackside.
Yeah. Got a match. Anybody
Give me
got
a match. Let's cook us a Hammond.
A Hammond burger.
Trackside is presented by new Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines.
Back at Homestead Miami Speedway, those of you who watch our show every week, we thank you, but you also know that, well, we can make a bit of a mess from time to time, and thank goodness Rutledge Wood has been here all year long to help us clean up. One more assignment for Rut.
You know, it's my first year here on Trackside, but I'm still the new guy, and they're making me clean the whole place up. I mean, how long am I have to wear this rookie stripe, you know? I mean, I just wish that I had somebody here that could help me, you know, figure out how to do all this. Whoa. Now, who is this? Wait a minute. That looks like Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs.
What are the odds?
What are you doing here, man?
What a crazy coincidence.
This is nuts. What are you doing down here?
To tell you the truth, I'm not sure, but my buddies at Ford said something about gentlemen starting engines or something like that.
You get to give the command.
I'm giving the command.
Do you need, I could give you a little help on that because I actually could use a little supervision. I got to clean this place up.
You need help cleaning and I need help announcing?
Do you mind?
Isn't it crazy the way stuff just works out sometimes?
You know, Mike, you've just done almost everything in Dirty Jobs. You've cleaned out concrete on the inside of a truck.
No,
You've been in almost every kind of animal poop there is.
Feces from every species.
Wow. I mean, do you have any tips? Am I okay here?
A couple things. First of all, I mean, this is a tool. It's not a, it's not a toy.
Oh, okay.
Bend with the knees. Assume a decent grip. I like the over-under. I like to take short, firm strokes. I like to lift it up each time.
How is this going to help you on Sunday?
It's probably not, but could I just point your shoes out briefly as well? I doubt that those are steel toe and they're pink, and that's cool, but as a man who's down here with a tool, you might want to be mindful of that.
Okay, let me take this back. What do you have planned for the Gentlemen Start Your Engines?
I'm honestly, give me some advice, because I've had people tell me, do it straight up, don't mess around. Gentlemen, start your, and then I've had those people, no, you really want to sell it and make it your own.
Have you ever done this before?
Spoken?
No. Have you ever done the Start Your Engines before?
No, I've never done it.
In my eyes, I would go big or go home.
What do you
want? I
want
would make this gigantic.
Make it big, but also make it my own.
Yeah, like a handful of mealworms, toss it. I don't know. You got to make. You're Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs.
That's true. That's true. So I can put some dirt in it.
Oh yeah.
But that's
gentlemen. You got to really, gentlemen. You got a little more bass.
Gentlemen, start. No, I can't make it dirty.
Let's not. You know what? Let's keep working. I don't want to ruin it all.
What is this, by the way?
We'll just keep working on it.
No, what is this?
It's the glove for the trophy. Don't. That's the real one. So don't break that.
No, I'm not going to touch that. But I need you to turn around. This will just take a second.
Now that's a dirty job. Oh, hey. That is a dirty job.
Hey, can I get another bottle of water? Mike just handed this to me. I really don't think I want to drink that one.
Nobody wants to shake my hand anymore.
I know. I was going to say, you should wear those gloves. You need to wear those gloves all the time.
I thought bat guano was bad, but I don't know. We might have topped it.
Bat guano's not good. That was Rutledge guano, and that ain't good at all.
No, that's way down on the totem pole.
Now, not talking about the job with Rutledge, but how did you come up with this idea of Dirty Jobs?
Well, I had a grandfather.
Working around the house. And
yeah, pretty much. Look, once upon a time, there were guys in this country who just knew how to do stuff. They were just born sort of hardwired to work and fix things. They understood how to build. They understood how to overhaul. And I just didn't see a lot on TV that celebrated that kind of willingness to work. So I thought regular people might enjoy a regular show about people who weren't afraid to work their butts off, and that's what we did.
I would be
there you go, Mike. Right here we are.
I would be more inclined to say, get your hands dirty. That's what I would be more inclined to say.
Look, the thing about dirt, it washes off. Sweat washes off. The poo, it all washes off. I don't know what people are so worried about, I mean, yeah, you ruin some clothes, but look, you can get some new ones. Big deal.
I like your attitude. Tell me, do you just ride around like you drive into town like you got here and you came over and you said, hey, I can do a little work around here, clean this joint up. Well, is that how you got, is that your deal?
Well, the thing about dirt and grime is you always got job security, because everywhere you go, I mean, let's face it, people stink, and there's dirt. So, there's always something to clean up. There's always a new friend to make. And, look, I admit it. I aim pretty low, but that's the fun of making a TV show that doesn't have a script. I mean, I think you guys understand that.
We do. We totally understand that part.
Yeah. Mike, I understand about the sweat and the dirt it washes off, but I actually saw you jump off the back of a perfectly good ship into a shark-infested water. That has nothing to do with dirt. That smells like blood in the water to me.
Well, my suit smelled like something else after that day as well. we were testing a shark suit. They basically
it must have worked.
Suits. Well, I'm still here, but they make them out of steel, and you.
What do you do for a living? Oh, I test shark suits.
I didn't say it smart job. I'm saying, we make our choice. Look, you go round and round 1,000 miles an hour.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it worked for you.
That's right. I had a suit too.
Yeah, but yours is,
And I was in the pool of the sharks, like I promised you, so I understand.
It was more of a clown suit for him. Okay?
Hey, whatever works.
Whatever works. But
TIDE.
But the main thing is right now, you're here for championship weekend.
That's right.
Other folks from Ford brought you down here. So, obviously, Ford's not going to win the championship, but have you picked out a favorite driver? You got a chance to hang out with one of the race car drivers, and, have you got a couple of them right now that are kind of cool?
Well, look, I'll tell you what's funny for me. I only have met really one race car driver twice, and that's Jamie McMurray. And I don't even think he remembered the first time, but I just saw him backstage.
Yeah.
And 8 years ago at Sears Point, now in Finian, up there in Northern California. I got in a pace car, and Jamie was next to me, and they let me take a hot lap. And I went as fast as I could, and Jamie made a real high-pitched screaming sound like I was scaring him, which made me think maybe I should slow down a little bit.
You were driving him?
I was driving in a pace car. I was only going about 80, but according to him, I had my foot on the brake and the accelerator at the same time.
It probably wasn't speed.
Apparently.
It was probably more about the technique.
Yeah.
He was probably concerned about my trajectory, to tell you the truth. But either
Talking
way.
about speed and trajectory, you need to get him to work on his trajectory as far as when he pressure washes around his house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He needs some tips.
Now, that's a dirty job, but you know what I like? I like about dirty jobs, when you get finished, it's a guy thing.
Yeah.
It's instant gratification.
Listen, that's why
Clean it up.
That's why people love racing, for the same reason they love cleaning. When you're done. There's a finish line, and you can tell, right? I mean, when it was dirty, and now it's clean. You were a loser, now you're a winner. The race is over, and everybody knows how it turns out. So.
He could live in our, he could hang out with us.
He's our kind of guy.
He's a regular guy. He's a regular guy.
He keeps it simple.
Yeah.
We get these sophisticated guys on here that they think they know a lot more than we do, and they do. But they don't make us feel bad anyway.
Well, I want to see how you handle the next guy
He
coming
gets right
up.
down to our
The
level.
next mic that's going to come up here.
The next mic that comes up, he's sitting on that.
That would be Mike Helton.
Yeah.
Mike Rowe, congratulations on being the Grand Marshal. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Hey, man.
Glad to have you.
Crab cakes and football, that's how we do it Maryland style.
I'm going to make you proud tomorrow. And happy birthday to my dad, John Rowe. He's in Baltimore, and he's watching. I love you, Pops.
Happy birthday, John. All right, give me.
Trackside Live back at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Well, we've had Michael Waltrip, we've had Mike Rowe, and now we have NASCAR President Mike Helton joining us here right outside the Speedway. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
It's hard. We were just talking about this. We started in Daytona. It seemed like just yesterday. And not to be cliche, but time flies, and it's hard to believe the end of the season is already here.
It is. It really is. And in some ways, I'm kind of ready for a
Yeah,
couple weekends. But for the most part, it's amazing how fast the season goes.
Mike, I had a producer
Startled him.
about time. So
Hey, that seems
Said I
to be
was
like
next.
when I'm coming down, I'm coming off turn 4, and I'm just past pit road entrance. Pit now!
That's what happened. I see now.
Now, don't give me that. He never listened anyway. Talked about the end of the season. We're making a change this year. We're leaving New York, getting ready to go and celebrate this championship year in Las Vegas for the first time. And it's going to be on speed. We're real excited about being there. What do you think about it?
I think it's different, and for so many years, so many of us remember New York as the banquet center for the Sprint Cup Series. But it's okay to change every now and then. And Vegas is a heck of a destination. It's a heck of a city to celebrate in, and we're going to have actually the biggest crowd because we've got the ability to do it that's ever been in a live Sprint Cup banquet. So. It's going to be fun, and we're really glad that you guys are going to be there with us there when we open up the banquet and do it live. For the folks that can't be there, certainly are going to be able to watch it on speed that night.
Mike, over the history of our sport, we've had some rivalries. We've obviously had Waltrip and Allison. We've had Earnhardt and Rusty. And, NASCAR really has to walk a fine line on making sure you control things on that racetrack, which we certainly understand, but letting them maybe run their course off the racetrack. What you're kind of faced with right now with Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, at the end of the day, our job is to maintain law and order. Sometimes it's law, sometimes it's order. and the rivalries, for the most part, are order. And we honestly want the spirit and the character and the enthusiasm of athletes to come out. But there is a point where NASCAR says, okay, enough's enough.
Right.
And that's just the order part.
Mike, I know you pretty well. I've known you for a long time. And I know you have the persona of a really tough guy. I mean, you carry a big stick. And most everybody that knows you listens to what you have to say, and rightfully so. I got 2 comments to make, though. One is, I have no idea what would happen to the sport if you were not here, and I mean that. You're like our commissioner, and I've said many times, I don't know what else I don't know about being in the tire on Sunday or having to bring drivers into the truck through the week to talk to them about rough driving or anything else. I just know that you do an incredible job of maintaining order in this sport, and you're the guy that when there's something that we need to find out about or want to know about, we come and see you. And I really respect the job you do and the passion you have for the sport. And it's got to hurt you, because I know how it affects me sometimes, when people talk about this sport and how things are not going well, whether it's competition or whether it's the fans in the stands or whether it's the coverage of the races. How do you deal with that, Mike? Because I know you got a big heart, and I know you wear your feelings on your sleeve, or your feelings out on your sleeve sometimes. How do you balance that out?
Well, you have to manage it, and I had a good mentor in Bill Jr. to figure out that, hey, it's like that Mike is a while ago. Thank goodness poo washes off, but it is tough because all of us love this sport, and it's a lifestyle for us. It's not just a job; it's a lifestyle, and we were all fans before we made a living in this sport, and so it does get difficult. And I appreciate all the kind words you said and everything, and. But you have to just understand that criticism is part of it. The good thing is and fans have a stake in this sport, and they're very vocal about it, and particularly when things are the way they are right now. They're tough out there. They're tough on fans. They're tough on everybody. And we have to be mindful of that, but we still have to make decisions that keep us on track, no pun intended, but keep us going in the right direction. Sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not very popular. But I promise everybody that we make decisions that we feel like and honestly believe are good for the sport. Sometimes they're short-term fixes to give us time to fix a long-term issue. But we will always make decisions that we believe are good for the sport because we love the sport too.
A lot more with Mike Helton coming up. And don't forget, a little bit later on, the 2009 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion, Kyle Busch, will join us. He's had an amazing year in all 3 series. Stay with us. Glad you're back at Homestead Miami Speedway. And Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Darrell Waltrip back with NASCAR President Mike Helton on a warm evening in November, the season finale championship weekend. Mike, I was doing some research 10 years ago for the 50th anniversary, and what struck me was Bill France Sr., his legacy was to create a good show for these folks. And I have to applaud you. You guys have done 2 things just in mid-season. You went to the double file shootout restart, and you've also announced that next year the majority of the races are going to start at 1 o'clock. And I would have to believe that's not for us sitting up here, it's for these folks and the folks watching at home.
Yeah. And what we've learned, and we've got a fan council that folks in our office in Daytona monitor. They talk to them every week to find out what they're thinking, what their take is, because it's 2010, and we need to think like 2010. And we've got 62 years under our belt, and it's real easy to say, well, that's the way we always used to do it. But the way you always used to do it doesn't necessarily mean that's the right way to do it today. So we got to be a little bit more responsible and a little bit more responsive. And what we learned that fans high on the radar was double file restart. So we had to figure out what all that meant, because it's not just as easy to say, okay, boys, we're going to double file restart next week, because we've seen these guys in action. But we got there, and we got there in the middle of the season, but we got there. The other thing we learned is that whether it's on television or particularly fans that go to the racetrack, it's used to, we could go to the racetrack for 5 or 6 days, spend 5 or 6 nights in a hotel. Fans don't do that as much today as they used to do it. A lot of fans will show up for the day of the race and need to go back home. And the earlier starts at the racetrack worked for fans that saw it live in person as well, from what we heard from the fans. So all of this is kind of a work in progress, and the networks were kind enough to work with us. They heard us. They heard the fans. and we were able to work it out. Now, it's not a perfect scenario for every 36 race or 30 All-Star race, but it's a good, we think, a good landing spot, and the fans tell us that they're thankful for making the move.
You know, Mike, I know you travel a lot. I don't think there's a banquet in this country that you haven't been to this year. And it's just like when you were over there giving Kyle his trophy, and the next thing I know, you're walking by here. I know that's got to be tough, all the travel you do, but what is the toughest part of your job? What is the hardest thing you have to deal with? What is the hardest thing you have to do?
Outside of you, yeah. The toughest thing is to penalize somebody. You know, even though when I'm mad at them for a little bit, I still hate to penalize somebody, and we do. We have rules and regulations. People tell us we have too many of them, and that's arguable. You know, I won't say we don't, but I would say we need to. But even then, when somebody crosses the line, I still really feel bad about penalizing somebody. The other thing I feel bad about is we get a lot of mail, we get emails, we get blogs and tweets and all these other things they tell us we get. And they show me a lot of them, and we all look at them in NASCAR. And what I wish I could do is answer everybody's question to where they would understand why we would do some things, because it's really hard for someone to say, well, you know, you shouldn't have done that, or why did you do it, or I don't understand it. I wish we had some way to make our way or to explain why we did something, because I can understand not understanding it, and I can understand questioning it, and I just wish there was a way that we could explain everything.
You know, Mike, NASCAR made a major move about 2.5, 3 years ago. Something had been worked on for probably 5 or 6 years, and tomorrow we close the book on the second full season with the new car. And the biggest thing, when you look at some of the wrecks this year, Logano, Carl Edwards at Talladega, Ryan Newman, and the list goes on and on, it has done its job on the safety standpoint. That's first and foremost, and we know that. What do you think maybe is the next thing on the radar for this new car? We're hearing maybe looking across even at 2011, maybe some things tweaked.
Well, the 2011 earmark is where some of the manufacturers want to change the fascia on the front of the car for brand. And we've had that in the past, where we go from a Monte Carlo to Impala back to a Monte Carlo in Chevrolet. We went from the Taurus to the Fusion on the Ford. The Toyota Camry's been constant, but we always have model changes that happen. So that's a 2011. One of the things I would like to point out is when we introduced the car 2.5 years ago in a partial schedule, we had the car. We said we were going to keep standard on the car, and for the most part we have for the big items. But I asked John Darby and Robin Pemberton 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said, give me an idea how many changes we have made on this car since we first introduced it. And right off the top of their heads, they listed 24 or 25 things. And little things, right, from giving the crews the ability to adjust the splitter, asymmetric instead of symmetric, the sway bar, which was the most recent one, different springs, giving them the ability to move weight buckets to counter the weight and have more flexibility with the weight. And they listed 24, 25 things just off the top of their head while we were sitting in the holler that we have worked with the crew chiefs.
Things that these people would never know or realize.
Things that I didn't even realize, you know, that we had worked on. So it's a work in progress, as we said here, and so it's not the identical car we started off with 2.5 years ago. There has been a lot of things that have gone into this car to give the crews and the drivers the ability to get the chemistry right on it, and we'll continue to do that. And we'll go look at them. We've got a wind tunnel scheduled here in a couple of weeks to go back and look at this car, particularly from the 39 getting lift off in Talladega. That's something we've got to chase and stay on top of. We've got a nationwide model now that's a product of the Cup model.
A cool-looking car.
Yeah,
I like that car. It's a good-looking piece.
And so we've got more and more experience under our belt now. We've got more and more effort that still goes on at the R&D Center. We have constant conversation with the crews in the garage area about what to do. The one thing that we haven't landed on is a universal big fix for anything, because they want to be able to particularly the car owners don't want a major episode right now that they have to chase with engineering that could cost them millions of dollars. And so we've done this over the last couple of years. We've done these step by steps to give them more flexibility with this car.
Mike, that one thing that really bugs me, and I think it bugs a lot of the fans, is the cautions. And, you know, they get called phantom cautions. They get, you know, hot dog wrappers and those kind of things. What is it we got to – why can't we do a better job of determining when a caution is necessary and when it's a piece of paper blown across it?
Well, I think we do. I would argue that particularly today with all the TV cameras and we've got spotters around the racetrack that look for us. And if you monitor us in the tower when somebody – and you were the king of reporting caution when you needed one. And matter of fact, I remember a chrome piece coming out in Michigan one time.
Busted!
It was all floating around inside the car, and I had to get rid of it. I didn't want to get hit in the head with it.
Safety.
But we do have the opportunity to quantify a piece, and if we can be sure that it's not something, then we won't throw a caution. If we're sure it's something, we will throw a caution. And then there's an area in the middle where we're not sure either way, and we're going to err on the safety side. And we did that, quite frankly. You remember Dover a couple of years ago when Casey came. They were reporting oil, and nobody could see it.
Right.
Casey found it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, we learned, and we're going to err on the safe side.
Mike, real quick, we got the holidays coming up at the end of the year. I know you and your family are probably looking forward. You got any big plans as far as holidays? Take a little time off for yourself.
Yeah, everybody said, well, where are you going to go over the holidays? Well, you know, December's still pretty busy. But if I get a break, I don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Nowhere.
Yeah, where you going to go? I'm going home.
That's right. I'm going home. I got a lot of catching up
to do. Put a log on the fire.
Yeah, we hope you had a great holiday.
Happy holidays to everybody.
Good to have you here.
Mike, I know it's a busy weekend, man. Thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mike.
Coming up, Jamie McMurray's going to talk about his plans for 2010. Stay with us here on Trackside Live from Homestead, Miami. Look at there. That's some trick TV right there. Steve Green, Gus Sims, underwater, promoting Trackside. What kind of fish is that?
I don't know. McMurray's a
big, I can tell you that.
McMurray caught one about that size today. Didn't you?
Yeah, I had a good day today.
Yeah.
Trackside Live back with Jamie McMurray. And Jamie, finally, we know what you're doing for 2010.
Yeah, excited about going back and driving for Chip and Felix again. It's been 4 years with Roush, and actually went to the Ganassi shop on Tuesday and got my contract signed. And it was really exciting to get to go back and tour the shop and see all the guys, because a lot of the guys still work there that worked there when I drove for Chip before. And so it was cool to have those guys pat you on the back and say they were excited to have you back.
You know, Jamie, when you left over there and you went over to Roush, I know you had to think, man, I'm going to knock it out of the park.
Right.
I know you had high expectations. I know probably Jack had high expectations. You've had some success, but I don't think you ever really lived up to what you expected.
No, I mean, we came so close to making the chase, and that's when they only took 10. My 3 years at Ganassi. And I really thought going to Roush was going to put me in that chase every year, and really my finishes weren't as good in my years at Roush. So it's unfortunate. I mean, you make those changes, and you always want to try to better yourself, and we just didn't have the finishes that we needed.
Well, going back to Ganassi, I mean, it's funny that your teammate Juan Pablo Montoya drove for Chip, left him, and then he came back. Now you've drove for him, left him, and you've come back. Have you two guys even talked about, as far as teammates, about returning to Ganassi, what it's like now compared to then?
No, and you know what? I didn't remember this story, but Chip talked about it in the media center when we were making our announcement here yesterday. When I left, Chip told me, he's like, that's probably a really good move for you. He's like, that's probably going to be a better position for you next year, and there weren't any hard feelings at all. And I've remained really good friends with Chip. I mean, when I'd send him text messages when he won the 24 Hours of Daytona, and just remained friends, and actually was on Felix's boat. During Daytona, everybody wants to go get on Felix's boat and hang out. So Christy and I went and hung out on the boat and talked to Chip and Felix this year in Daytona, not asking for a job, just hanging out. So we've remained really good friends, and really didn't even put all that together.
As Darrell likes to say, you never want to burn any bridges.
Oh no, never say never.
Exactly. Jamie, our sport works in mysterious ways. The first 32 races of 2009, no top 5 finishes. You had led one lap, I think, somewhere under caution. We go to Talladega. We know Roush Fenway has not had that great of a year anyhow, and you capitalize by leading the last 32 laps and get the victory lane. You still got one more shot tomorrow, too, but get in the victory lane in your last few races for Roush Fenway.
That old girl right there was fast.
Yeah,
That's fast.
We had just a really good day at Talladega. I told Donnie before the race, I'm like, I think I'm gonna, ride around the back and not get caught up in a wreck. And the reason I did that is because in the spring Talladega race, we had talked about it, and I was like, I am not gonna ride around the back. I'm like, that is so boring. I'm not doing it. And I got wrecked on lap 5. And as I was sat in the garage while they're trying to fix my car so I could go right around, I'm like, I think the next time I come here, I'm gonna try a different plan. And it just worked out really well. We we rode around, like in 30th or whatever, and with like 50 laps to go, I started to try to make my way to the front, and I couldn't. I got stuck, and I made the comment under the caution before the last run. I'm like, it's going to be luck for whoever can get up through here because the cars are 3 wide, and there's just nowhere to go. And fortunately for me, I got right in front of Matt, and Matt really made that race for me. When you get to have not only your teammate but a really good friend of yours helping you, I didn't really have to protect my outside because I really trusted Matt and knew that he wouldn't hang me out, so I really only had to guard the inside, and that makes it so much easier to place like Talladega.
You been working on your hunting and fishing skills, buddy?
Yeah, actually did the fishing tournament this morning, and I thought we were going to win, but Clint Boyer came and stole our spot. And
I won't tell you how he did that, but yeah.
He might have cheated a little bit, huh?
Yeah, he was over there working on that fish. That's all I know.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, looking forward to everything, getting to work with Bass Pro. I grew up 60 miles from Bass Pro Shop's headquarters in Springfield, Missouri, so certainly there's a connection there. And Johnny Morris is just quite a guy.
Great guy.
Anyone who's ever met him, he's just very genuine, very nice, and I really look forward to getting to work with Bass Pro.
Ask Johnny if he's ever ridden on Air Force One.
Okay.
Ask him about that.
Is he going to say yes?
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Jamie, thank you very much. Best of luck next year.
Thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Good luck tomorrow. When we come back, we'll talk with Kyle Busch, the 2009 NASCAR Nationwide Series champion. We're crowning champions here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. The most recent, Kyle Busch, who wins 2009 NASCAR Nationwide Series title. 9 wins. He finished second 11 times. Look at the laps led, over 2,630.
All I needed
top
was
10
more to be 27 even.
Right. That's it. There you go. All I needed. I just needed a little bit more.
Yeah, those last 2 laps at Kentucky.
Dadgum.
We love saying this. Welcome to the show, champ.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much.
You bring the trophy? Where's the trophy?
I didn't bring the trophy. That thing's heavy. It's too heavy to carry. So appreciate the fans coming out tonight and being here for us. But that one looks a little bit lighter, and that might be the next one I hopefully go after.
Oh, I don't doubt anything about that right there. We've been talking about it all week long. Every time you look at your record and what you've accomplished in a short period of time. Today we were talking, you've got, with today's win, that makes 20 wins in NASCAR's 3 Premier Series for a season.
Yep.
And then you're 24 years old, and you've been doing that basically since you got here, and we were just discussing it. In 10 more years, can you imagine how many races you could win?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
it's mind-boggling.
It is, and the great part about that is it is mind-boggling. The bad part about that is you know how many that I gave away this year?
You know what? You are a true driver. You are a true driver.
There was... What is it, 12 second-place finishes this year? So,
he makes himself miserable.
I know it.
That's all right. But I love to prove myself wrong, too. If I go out there and say, yeah, man, we're only second best or third best today or whatever, and I win, I love that.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, yeah, I proved myself wrong. Right on. So, but, no, this year's been awesome. I mean, I can't thank the guys enough. Everybody that's worked on this race team, everybody that's involved over at Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, Z-Lines Designs, NOS Energy Drink. I mean, it's just... it's phenomenal the way that this year's gone together for us and the way we've put it together. And with all those seconds and thirds, that really solidified it our championship by the average finish that we had. I mean, the consistency that we had, it was just, it's what it needs to be in a championship season. You got to put it all together like that.
Kyle, as you've been laying these numbers down in the Nationwide Series the last couple of years with laps led and wins, we're seeing your name a lot with Sam Ard. A great, what was a Busch Series driver back in the 80s. And how coincidental is it that it's been 26 years since the champion won the last race of the season? Sam Ard did it in 1983, and you're the first one to do that since Sam did it in 83 here 26 years later.
Older than I am. More years than I am old. I mean, Sam's one of the pinnacles to this sport. You know, he's one of the main soldiers that made this sport what it is today in the Nationwide Series, and for him to have all the records that he has, and for him to have all of the stats that he has and everything, and for me to go out here and match another one of his, or to have my name alongside of his again, you know, it's pretty cool. And to me, it means a lot. You know, when you started saying that, you know, it brings a smile to my face, because I've met Sam, and I love spending time with him. You know, it may be hard a little bit to communicate with him or talk to him, but, you know, just the pure fact that he's there with you, and he knows who you are. You know, he might not have the things to say to you that you'd like to hear, but he knows who you are, and he knows what you're accomplishing and what you're doing, and he's one of the guys that I love to put my name next to, and I hope that my name's never above his, but always alongside.
You know, one of the things that you did, what really impressed me and told me a lot about your heart is when you gave his family $100,000.
Yep.
That was
after winning Texas,
after
I think,
winning,
last year.
yeah, tying a record of his.
Yeah, it was last year.
That's huge. That says a lot about your character.
But I wish we would have won 10 or 11 again this year. You know, it certainly would have been nice. But, you know, for everything that's gone on in this sport, for all the drivers that have been here, like yourself and Sam and Richard Petty and all those guys, to have the support that they still do for the sport that they were involved in. You know, Cale's still around all the time. You see him, and I'm sure you guys have plenty of stories.
Oh, yeah,
yelling
great
at each other.
story.
Pearson's always around, and so, you know, it's great to have those guys come back and spend some time with us, the younger generation drivers, and just to see that, you know, that they still care about the sport that they help make, and that, you know, they're always here. Their name's always going to be in the record books, and I'm one of those guys too.
Yes, sir.
More with Kyle Busch coming up. Want to remind you that tomorrow the championship will be decided in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, will be here to set you up. Wendy Venturini sits down with championship contenders Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin and their owner, Rick Hendrick. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, live Sunday at 11:30 Eastern.
Trackside is presented by new Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines.
Our coverage of Championship Sunday begins at 10 a.m. with NASCAR Performance. You'll see NASCAR Race Day beginning at 11:30. ABC has the final race of the year, Victory Lane at 8, Wind Tunnel at 9, and the Speed Report with a full wrap-up at 10 Eastern. And we're back with Kyle Busch. Kyle, I was on the airplane flying down here, read an article about Peyton Manning, and just it made me think when Jeff was asking you about what motivates you. And with Peyton, it's almost, in a lot of great athletes, the fear of failure. And not that you're going to fail, but failing to win. Is that accurate with you?
It is, you know, and it's always great to go out and win races, but when you come home and you finish second, it's like, man, and when you had a shot to win the race. You know, today I didn't feel like we really had a shot to win the race. You know, Carl was really strong and the 29 was really good, so I was going to have to settle for third, and then we made a couple adjustments and some air pressure stuff, and man, that car came to life, and we won, you know, and that's the greatest satisfaction, is being able to get your team to victory lane. And here, you know, Carl, at least he wasn't 3 car lengths closer, because if he was 3 car lengths closer, man.
He was coming right here. Watch this.
Yeah, we might have had a different story. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I just knew that I needed to take a good shot at being able to get in soft and get off hard and just drive away from him. So, you know, it's great when you're able to win like that. And those days that you finish second, they're frustrating to me, because I feel like I let people down. You know, I let myself down, I let people down. And I went hunting the other week. You'll appreciate this. Okay. And I got one, and then I was aimed up and everything and all set for my second one, and I missed. And so hunters can understand the disappointment I go through too, of being able to get away from the
get away from me
from the next one. You know, you miss one and you miss one.
I didn't want to miss coming up here. Congrats,
What's
buddy.
the white glove for?
Yeah, that's why I told him, get away from me, you scoundrel, you.
You don't want to know what the white glove treatment is.
Probably got Vaseline on the inside of it.
He does.
What?
I
I was just
get away from
cleaning.
me.
You told me to clean your golf cart. White glove inspection.
Yeah, but you went a little deeper than that.
Hey, Kyle, real quick, Kyle. Our statistician gave us a number today with the laps you're going to run tomorrow. The number of miles that you've driven in 2009 is equal to driving around the Earth at the equator. You love driving miles, it sounds like.
I've driven around the world.
And I got to say this.
In 1 year.
I got to say this. Right. I don't think I've ever met anybody that hated to lose any worse than he does.
No.
change.
You used to be back the same way. don't kid yourself.
Congratulations, Kyle Busch.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
2009 Nationwide champion.
Got it.